Hey, what's going on, guys? So last week I made a video about some fun early game tips in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom, and that video did pretty good actually for my channel considering. So I've been playing the game a lot more since then, and I decided to do a follow-up video with a couple more cool tips and just fun stuff you can do in Zelda Echoes of Wisdom. Some stuff that was actually recommended from you guys in the comments on the last video, and some stuff just stuff that's maybe not like spoken exactly like, hey, you should try this or do this, but still really useful stuff that can happen. Now this one might be a little bit more spoilery in the sense of locations and echoes, so here's your warning now. But in general, like, there's not gonna be any plot spoil stuff here. It's just gonna be like, hey, I'm gonna have some echoes that may be later in the game. But you know, I want to show it off. I want to show off these cool ideas. And once again, you know, let me know down below if you have done these or have some of your own, because these are pretty cool. And I just know that with this game, the sky's the limit. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So the first thing I want to start off with is kind of a convenience thing. You know, there's the whole tethering ability where you can tether to stuff and move it around or have it move you. I talked about this briefly in my first video. In fact, if you don't know much about it, go back and watch that, because I talk about it with the spider and the birds. But you know, there's a part of the game where you have to go through and there is really, really cold weather, and the only way to get through it without just taking constant damage all the time is either being near a torch or like summoning a fire related monster. But what a lot of people don't realize, and what makes this a lot easier, is summon something like that, a torch or what have you, and tether it, and then just walk around and it's just hooked to you. Then you don't have to worry about the freezing conditions or any of that such nonsense. It's very convenient, and like, it seems really obvious, but I swear, like, I climbed halfway up this mountain before I realized, you know what, why am I holding the fire slime when I can just have him glued to me? Either way, this is definitely a strategy that I like to employ when going through the ice mountain. Speaking of tethering though, this is gonna sound so obvious and so stupid. I actually figured this out during one of the like training things in the village. But yeah, you can just tether your enemies and drop them in holes or off mountains. Like, why fight them? Why bother summoning echoes and figuring it out when you can literally just drop them in the bottomless pit? You know, like I said, this is one of those things where I wish I had thought about this so much sooner. But you know, it feels obvious now. But until you just like, wait a second, I can do that, you know, until that clicks, I swear, there has to be so many weird tricks like this that are blatantly obvious, but you just don't think about it. This one being one of my favorites. While we're up here on the ice mountain though, there's actually an enemy that's kind of annoying. It's like a snowman that keeps getting taller and taller. When you hit him, the balls bounce all over the place and deal damage. But speaking of tether, you can launch the tether at these guys and kind of make them collapse, pulling parts of them off. Pretty convenient. It actually works a lot better in the like 2D sections, which there are a couple 2D sections on this map that do have these snowmen guys, but it's just another thing that's like, you know, it's not really spelled out. The whole body doesn't move, it's one at a time, but still a pretty interesting use of the tether, that's for sure. Now this is one that I wish I knew much sooner. Throughout the game there are the you know, Duu Babas or whatever from, I think the first time you ever saw them was really Ocarina of Time, but essentially the plant from a Little Shop of Horrors, and just like any other enemy in the game, you can kill these things with sword. You know, you can use your sword, you can summon, you know, echoes to fight them, you can burn them, but they tend to eat stuff, which makes it really susceptible to bombs, which is convenient. But one thing too, and this works for both the like 3D version and the 2D version of these enemies, you can shoot the tether at them and just rip the stem right out like you're pulling a weed. Very, very useful. I wish I knew this sooner, especially against the level 2 ones, the big blue ones, because they are very, very annoying. And it does not matter what strength or what level or whatever they are. You can literally just grab any one of them, pull them, and then pop right off. And then easy win on these enemies. So this is one that came from my last video in the comments. I actually knew about this one and I meant to put it in the last video, but I just forgot. It's a weird one. I still don't quite know how I can utilize this in a way that is more convenient than other things, but it's very interesting. Basically, you can make a bed and they have these little tornado frogs, and when you shoot one while on the bed, it launches the bed in the air. I mean, it can help you get to higher places. It's kind of just a weird little thing. It's not like particularly useful. It's hard to kind of gauge where you're gonna fly to, unless there's something I'm missing as far as like aiming this thing. But it's kind of cool. You can actually do it really early game. And it might be a little bit of a better method like than some of the stuff you get later on early game, because like in the early game you don't have some of that stuff you get later on. But still, I just thought I'd bring it up because this was brought up in the comments, and I do find it interesting, just very weird to say the least. Speaking of like fun to have though, I am a huge fan of the BMOS. Like I use this thing for like almost everything. The problem is they're pretty weak. Like they're like one hit and they die. But yeah, those little like pathway blade things that are, you know, a Zelda staple. You can throw one of those down, tether it, giving yourself a little bladed Beyblade, throw a BMOS on top, and now all of a sudden you have yourself like a chainsaw turret. This is really dope. It's something that I use a lot when I'm just walking around dungeons, because just let the BMOS do all the work while I'm just walking around. I will, however, say that there is all sorts of stuff you can put on these little blades and make them useful. Another one I really enjoy is putting on the one of the Duu plants, just because, you know, it's like a little tiny, like kind of like a, I don't know, Pokemon or something, where it just goes around and eats your enemies for you. Very convenient. So really, the sky's the limit of stuff you can put on these things and tether them to you. But you know, these are just a couple of examples that I really rather enjoy doing this combo with. Now, this echo is going to seem very silly to be something like on a list like this, especially because you get it so early in the game. But this actually only gets better with time, and that's just the regular keys. They only take one like charge to summon, and if you have an enemy locked on, they pretty much go straight to them, dealing decent damage. And, you know, like at this point in the game for me, and I don't know if you get more, but like I have 5 charges. So you can really just keep mashing the summon button and have an army of bats that really just chews away at enemies. It's, you know, like I said, it seems like a silly thing to have on a list like this, but don't be sleeping on the keys. I think they do a lot more work than most people give them credit for. You know, I should just call this video like Zelda Echoes of Wisdom Tether Edition, because another thing that I noticed, I did this in a boss fight and I just have been doing it ever since, is if you get some enemies with really strong attacks that maybe aren't like that great as far as speed go, you can manipulate them with the tether. One I really like using is taking the knights that do like the spinning axe move, and this thing's really strong, but like once it kills the enemy, it just kind of sucks because he just keeps spinning there, and you know, in the middle of nowhere by himself. He can't stop, he goes very slowly, so it's not like he can change focus to another enemy unless you tether him, in which case now you have your own spinning death blade. I'm telling you, this guy does so much damage, it is just awesome. Summon him in the middle of a group, let him start the attack, tether him, and then move him around like your own personal weed whacker. This is a method that has really helped me get through dungeons like really easily ever since I kind of figured it out. This is a really cool one. So in this game, they have water blocks and ice blocks that you get like, mid-ish game. And the water blocks specifically, when you use one into another one, it makes it go higher. So when it comes to like traversing different areas, this works really well in the 2D sections. But you can make basically these water towers and just swim your way up. I mean, I'm here in the desert. Like I said, at this point, I have the ability to make five one summonable items or whatever, one cost items. So I can make like a 5 tall water tower and just swim my way up this mountain rather than have to make a stack of beds or manipulate any kind of whatevers. I just make the water tower and it's great. Like I said, in the 2D sections though, that's where this thing really shines. I'm trying to figure out like if there's something cool I can do with the ice blocks like this, but the water blocks are very self-explanatory as per how good they are. So this one feels silly that like I didn't think about it sooner, or maybe someone said something and I just skipped through the dialogue or something. But you know, in classic Zelda fashion, right? If you grab onto a chicken or a cuckoo, you can friggin', you know, use them to kind of glide, slow your descent. But you can't like make those in this game. However, you can do that with any bird type summon, apparently. So if you summon it and then press A like real fast where you pick it up, because you can pick up all of your echoes, then all of a sudden you have yourself a little glidey bird. Once again, kind of wish I knew this sooner, because there's been several times where like I kind of want to jump down to get a treasure chest and I have to like just do it just right or use other weird echoes to like fake my way down. But if I had the realization that I could just grab a bird and like parachute down, I would have done that way sooner. One last kind of combat, or maybe anti-combat echo. You know, I showed this earlier, the tornado. This is really just funny to me, because sometimes there's enemies all over the place, or you just don't want to deal with it. You don't want to summon something to fight, or what have you. These little frogs, you just kind of launch them, and they will just knock the enemies into space. I mean, it's that simple. It's kind of fun. Like right here in the field, there's a ton of snakes, a ton of all sorts of different enemies, and rather than have to deal with it, I'm just shooting these tornado frogs, and you know, boom, everyone flies out of my way and I can just walk the straight path. It's really convenient if you're just being lazy and don't want to kill anything. But you know, it's one of those, it's just, there's so many echoes in this game. I feel like a lot of stuff kind of goes underutilized. So I just want to like point out like, hey, some of those echoes you never really use, like they have uses. Everything kind of has a use, and this one is fun just for clearing the way. So the last thing I want to bring up is the smoothies. I mean, everyone at this point, I would hope, knows that the smoothies are really useful. You can make them that swim, make you swim faster, give you more defense, all sorts of stuff. But I have personally found, and this is just my opinion, the most useful smoothie is the salted milky smoothie. It gives you like a ton of hearts, but also a full energy gauge. And if you're like me, like you probably like don't use your energy that often, because I don't know, I get like Final Fantasy Mega Elixir syndrome, where it's like I never want to use my powerful stuff. But I'll tell you what, if you have like a bunch of these smoothies, which like take very common ingredients and 10 rupees to make, then not only are you fully recovering your health, but you're also fully recovering your energy, which makes boss fights like way faster, just annoying parts of dungeons way faster. I highly recommend it. I mean, it takes like a milk and a rock salt, which are both extremely common. And yeah, I mean, you know, that's where I'm going to end this one. It's just like my personal go-to smoothie for this, like, basically game. Another one that's good is the one that adds defense, but like, honestly, in this game, it's pretty easy. So, you know, it's not like meant to be like a crazy challenge. So I think just the energy and the health is enough. But you know, let me know what your favorite smoothies are down below. But like I said, to me, this is kind of the winner. So, what did you guys think? I hope that was some stuff that could be useful to you. I hope maybe there was some ideas that could make your gameplay more enjoyable. Like I said earlier, though, please, you know, jump down in the comments and let me know what kind of weird, cool tips and tricks you guys have. Because this game just really lends itself to weird, outside-of-the-box thinking. I can't wait to beat this game, because I've already seen several videos of like super crazy speedruns out there. I haven't watched them yet because I don't want to spoil myself, but I can't wait till I beat it so I can watch those without spoilers, because I know they're going to give me even more wild ideas. But hey, once again, you know, throw your ideas down below. Throw some of the stuff you've been doing down below. Have you been enjoying this game? Have you not been enjoying this game? I just love any and all feedback.